Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of this lesson on scorching summer. We're going to be looking at the vocabulary now from the article. And we're going to be doing this a little bit differently than I have in the past. We're going to go word by word. So I'm going to put the words and the definitions at the top of each slide. And then I'm going to give you here a sample sentence using that word. And at the bottom of each slide, you'll see the box here just to remind you that you should try to write your own sentence using that word. Okay, so I'm not going to be reminding you each time, though, because we've got 12 words and sentences to get through. So I'm going to have to kind of push on through this. So if I'm going a little fast, again, just adjust the speed, all right, on your YouTube settings. So let's get into our very first sentence and word. Okay, so let's do the definition first. Heat wave. Heat wave is a period of time that there's really hot weather. Okay, extremely hot weather, and it's for some time longer than definitely a couple of days. A heat wave probably lasts at least a week. Let's take a look at the word used in a sentence. I'm going to encourage you to read aloud with me. During a heat wave, soaking in a bathtub or kiddie pool filled with ice cubes is a great way to cool off. Okay, so we have the heat wave here, the noun, during this time, this hot time. Soaking, that means your body is submerged, right, underneath water, usually in a bathtub. Or a kiddie pool. A kiddie pool are those inflatable vinyl pools that like toddlers and small children play in the summertime. And if it was filled with ice cubes or just ice water, that would be a great way to cool off. If you don't dive into the pool, of course, it's very shallow. Just put your feet in or slowly slide your body in. Okay, that's our first word and first sentence. Let's go on to the next. Here we have go down in history. So if you go down in history as Rudolph did in the famous song, you'll go down in history. Okay, that means he's remembered for his red shiny nose. To go down in history means to be remembered long after you have passed from this earth. Let's take a look at how it's used in another sentence. The 1960 earthquake that struck Chile will go down in history as the strongest ever recorded. Now, just in case you are from Chile, you might be able to confirm this. I don't know. I just got this from a news report online. So I guess it was the most intense, according to seismograph readings, the most intense earthquake that had ever been recorded. So there's our sentence using go down in history. Let's go to our next word, which is caught off guard. Oh, sorry. If you're caught off guard, you're surprised by something, usually something that's unexpected. So here is our sentence where we're using that word. Swimmers and surfers were caught off guard by the sudden tsunami. Okay, so it's something sudden and unexpected. All right, let's go on to our next word, which is unprecedented, which is something that's never been done before, something that's never been heard of before. Okay, let's see it in a sentence. The 190 mile per hour wind speeds of Hurricane Allen in 1980 were unprecedented. So before this particular hurricane in I guess this is in the United States somewhere, obviously because of the name of the hurricane. And this is read, this MPH stands for miles per hour, 190 miles per hour. I don't know the kilometer speed, so you'll have to do the conversion on that. But obviously it was the fastest recorded up until that time. So it was unprecedented at that time. Let's go on to our next word, brutal, which can mean violent, harsh, right, cruel, tyrannical, okay, ruthless. In this case, at least in this article and in my sentence, it means just more harsh, right? Really hard to endure, hard to bear. So winters in Antarctica can be brutal. Winters in any cold place, Siberia, Antarctica, Alaska, can be brutal. All right. Let's take a look at our next word. Okay, so our next word here is pales, which is usually used in a comparative context when you're comparing something. Something is less important than something else, less impressive, less memorable than something else. It pales. Okay, let's see how it's used in a sentence. Here we have Canadian summers pale in comparison to those in Saudi Arabia. And from what I've heard of my students who live in Saudi Arabia, that's true, because the temperatures in Saudi Arabia in the summer are over 50 degrees. That's Celsius. Okay, which is, I don't even know, 100 and something in Fahrenheit. Okay, super hot. All right, so compared to summers in Canada, Saudi Arabian summers are extremely hot. All right, let's go to our next word. We have exponentially, this adverb. So it means to increase gradually. Excuse, not gradually, just the opposite. It means to increase at a steady, quick pace. All right, so if something is growing or increasing exponentially, it's multiplying. So it is a math term. It's often used in math. Let's see how it's used in this context. All right, so we have our sentence here: as the sun set during the desert sandstorm, temperatures dropped exponentially. So it can increase or decrease, right? Exponentially just means steadily and rapidly. Okay, so temperatures can fall, as you know, in the desert overnight, can get extremely cold. All right, let's press on to our next word, which is on record. It's kind of similar, well, in a way. If something is on record, it's been recorded somehow for posterity. It could be remembered. It could go down in history. Okay, so something that's on record is officially recorded. There's some official historical documents. Okay, and it could also be something, it doesn't have to be actually on paper. It could be something that's said or stated, like video or some kind of audio archive. Let's take a look at our sample sentence. Here we have: the governor went on record to say all victims of the recent hurricane would receive emergency relief funds. Okay, so in this case, it means he promised officially. He declared a state of emergency, so he went on record. So it's now official and public, saying all victims would be eligible to receive government aid. Let's go to our next word, which is resort to. Okay, if you have to resort to something, it's like a last resort. Usually it's a course of action that you don't want to do, but you're kind of forced to do because there's no other alternative. Okay, let's take a look at our sentence. Let's see how it's used. During the flood, desperate residents resorted to making their flotation devices. Okay, I think I left a period out. Okay, so I guess if you're in a flood and you have to hurry up and find some way to save your life, you'll think of a way to make a flotation device. So I guess some creative flood victims did that. Residents had to resort to kind of extreme measures. Let's go to our next word, which is cloud seeding. It's actually a phrase, sorry, a verb phrase. So cloud seeding is something, not a verb phrase, a noun phrase. It's something that you do, often farmers do, for if there's a drought and their crops are failing. You put some kind of chemical or crystals or something into the clouds. It can be done from the ground, or it can be done from another plane, flying into the clouds. So they want to release the moisture that's in the clouds. And let's take a look at how it's used in this sentence. Scientists are not convinced that cloud seeding is okay. I'm sorry. I'll just type it in here. Or I'll just put it in here. I made another mistake. I forgot a period now. I'm forgetting words. Okay. I'll just write it here. Okay. It's supposed to be an "and." Let me just write it in here. Okay. And it's going to be way too small. Sorry about that. So I'm going to have to increase the size. Okay. And okay, is an effective method of stimulating rain. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go on to the next word, which is a freak. Okay, something that's a freak is definitely unusual, odd, out of the ordinary, unnatural. Okay, let's see how it's used in a sentence here. Ah, yes, perfect example. A freak thunderstorm sent all the partygoers running for cover. So if it was a beautiful day out, everybody was having fun at this picnic, let's say they were having a party outside, could be a wedding party, a beautiful sunny day, and suddenly these dark clouds roll in and thunder and lightning starts, crashing everywhere. And then everybody has to run for cover. Okay, so that would be something unexpected, unusual, abnormal. Okay, this kind of a weather phenomenon. And I think our last word here is harbinger. A harbinger is a kind of an omen, a bad omen, and a sign of something to come. And it's usually, it can be positive, but it's usually, I think, in a negative context. Let's see how it's used in this sentence. Ah, here it's being used in the positive. Okay, so this is a good example. Sailors always say, a red sky at night is the harbinger of good weather. Okay, red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. Okay, so sailors want to see a red sky at night. They know that that's a sign of good weather to come. All right, so remember now, after we've gone through all of these sentences and definitions, remember to choose one, write your own sentence using that word. And that's what you're going to put in the comment section after watching part 3, our knowledge check. Keep that in mind, and I'll see you there in part 3. Bye for now.